Get your broke self out of my store before I call security. The cutting words rang out in the opulent space of the high-end fashion store Maison Duval, slicing through the gentle notes of jazz. Just a second later, the hand of Ethan Cross, the store manager, struck sharply across Amara Johnson's cheek, the crisp crack freezing more than 40 customers in stunned silence. A few children stared wide-eyed, pulled closer by their mothers, as if they had just witnessed something dangerous. Overhead, the security cameras blinked red, recording every second. Amara stood still, her hand lightly touching the skin now burning hot, her gaze deep but silent. Her blazer remained pristine, her Italian leather briefcase steady in her hand without a tremor. No one knew that behind this calm was a slow-burning fire, and Ethan had just lit the fuse. The room seemed to hold its breath, every eye fixed on the young woman. Everyone sensed they were about to witness something far beyond an ordinary customer dispute. Just 10 minutes earlier, Amara had walked in with a simple purpose to return a nearly $3,000 defective handbag. But now, under the chandelier's glow and the curious stares of dozens of witnesses, the story had shifted, and Ethan Cross's path forward would never be the same. Only 10 minutes before the scene had been calm and refined. Maison Duval, the Manhattan flagship, glittered under crystal light's soft saxophone notes drifting through the air. Well-dressed patrons moved leisurely past displays, fingers brushing the fine leather of handbags and high heels. Amara Johnson, in a beige suit with her hair neatly in a bun, headed straight to the customer service counter. In her hand was an Italian leather bag purchased 3 days ago, worth nearly $3,000. The stitching at the opening had unraveled and the zipper jammed halfway. An unacceptable flaw for a brand that claimed to represent the pinnacle of craftsmanship. The receptionist with bouncy blonde hair looked up with a well-practiced smile. "Hello, ma'am. How can I help you today?" she asked. Her voice gentle, but her eyes flickered with hesitation at the sight of the bag. Amara explained briefly, requesting to see a manager for resolution. "Our manager is very busy." The receptionist's smile tightened, her voice dropping. "Would you mind waiting a bit?" A bit turned into more than 20 minutes. During that time, Amara watched a white customer return a defective wallet and get refunded within 5 minutes. With an apologetic smile. Another was even given a $500 gift voucher. But she, still waiting, was left standing at the counter like an unnoticed object. And just as Ethan Cross appeared, that cold silence was about to explode into a public storm before the entire store. Ethan Cross emerged from the back office, his gray-tailored suit unable to mask the faint scent of cheap cologne. His eyes swept over Amara as if assessing a low-value item. "What's the issue here?" His voice was deep but cold. Amara remained calm. This bag was purchased 3 days ago with faulty stitching and a jammed zipper. I'd like a refund and to speak with your quality control department. Ethan let out a short, dry laugh. Perhaps you damaged it yourself. We don't take back items customers ruin. Murmurs began among those nearby. Several phones were raised, red recording lights flashing. Amara glanced at her gold Patek Philippe watch. 10 minutes until an important meeting. I didn't damage it. The defect was there when I bought it. Please follow proper procedure. Ethan shrugged. Stepping closer. Voice louder. Listen, we don't serve people who buy luxury items just to show off and then regret it. A ping sounded from someone's phone. A young woman, Lena Cruz, a fashion blogger with over 20,000 followers, was live streaming "Guys, I'm witnessing blatant discrimination at Maison Duval." The manager is insulting a black customer just for trying to return a faulty item. Viewers shot up. Comments poured in. What's his name? Film everything, can't believe this is still happening in 2025. The store's air thickened. The incident had already gone beyond the four walls, and Ethan Cross didn't realize every word he spoke was spreading across social media at lightning speed. In under 10 minutes, Maison Duval had turned into an unplanned show. Customers from the first floor had come up and those from the third had come down to watch. All eyes, some outraged, some curious, fixed on the service counter where Amara still stood, tall shoulders unbowed despite the insults. Meanwhile, Lena Cruz's live stream had hit 35,000 viewers. The hashtag #MaisonDuvalRacism began trending on Twitter, paired with short clips of Ethan shouting and making offensive remarks. In an office several blocks away, Clara Whitmore, the regional manager, was reviewing sales reports when an urgent call came in. Store number 12 has a serious incident. The manager's being accused of racial discrimination, live streams going viral. Clara shot to her feet. The Manhattan flagship brought in over $18 million a year. A scandal could be devastating. 15 minutes later, her heels clicked sharply on the marble floor as she entered. Phone cameras swiveled toward her. A tall figure in a navy coat, eyes cautious yet calculating. "What's going on here?" Clara's voice cut through the noise. Ethan stepped forward, feigning relief. "Thank God you're here." This customer tried to return an item she damaged herself. She's been pressuring and threatening staff. Clara scanned the crowd, seeing dozens of phones recording. Her PR instincts told her every frame would be dissected. She turned to Amara. "Perhaps we should step into the office to talk privately." But Amara shook her head, her voice ringing clear in the hushed air. "There's nothing to discuss privately. Your manager just insulted and assaulted me in front of more than 40 witnesses." The murmurs rose like waves. The already tense atmosphere now needed just one more spark to erupt into a storm. The store held its breath, all eyes on Amara. She calmly placed her Italian leather briefcase on the counter, unlocking it slowly, almost deliberately, so everyone could see each motion. "I think Amara," said, her voice even but resonant, "it's time we talked about standards." From the case, she pulled out a thick leather-bound file embossed with the Maison Duval logo. Phones shot higher, zooming in as she opened it. "This is the latest quarterly performance report. Store number 12, the Manhattan flagship, ranks 18th from the bottom in customer satisfaction, and here are 11 official racial discrimination complaints in the past 6 months, all ignored." Ethan blinked, stepping back. Clara froze, her expression shifting. "How did you get those documents?" Clara's voice was hoarse. Amara smiled faintly, producing a black, platinum-edged business card holder. She selected one card, holding it up for all to see, before letting it drop onto the counter like a verdict. "Amara Johnson, Chief Executive Officer, Duval Luxury Group." The only sound was the crowd's sharp intake of breath. A few whispered, "Oh my God," as if watching a movie scene. Ethan looked as if the blood had drained from his face. Clara bent to pick up the card, reading every letter, her hands trembling. Amara tilted her head, locking eyes with Ethan. "You just slapped the CEO of the company that owns over 700 stores worldwide, and did it in front of dozens of witnesses, hundreds of thousands watching online. Now, tell me, what are your standards?" Part 6. Shifting to the legal front. The air inside Maison Duval was dense. The clatter of keyboards from those live streaming mixed with murmurs of excitement. Online viewership had passed 120,000. Amara slowly rotated the gold watch on her wrist, her gaze never leaving Ethan. "Do you realize how far this has spread?" She placed a slim tablet on the counter, the screen displaying a rapidly moving chart. Duval Luxury Group's stock price had just dropped 9% in the past 20 minutes, market capitalization down more than $1.8 billion. "This," Amara said, her voice steady like a financial briefing, "is the direct consequence of your slap. And this," she swiped to another page, "is over 600 customer emails describing racially discriminatory experiences in this store." Clara swallowed hard. Ethan stepped back again, but the crowd surrounding them had turned the service counter into an impenetrable ring. Amara pulled out her phone, speaking loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Maria, connect me to legal. Emergency code red. Prepare the lawsuit. Request NYPD dispatch a team to the scene. And cancel all my meetings today. I'll be staying here." Hanging up. Amara looked straight at Ethan. "You have two options. 1. Cooperate with the investigation. Admit your actions. Sign immediate termination papers and hope cooperation lessens the penalty. 2. Keep denying and we will prosecute you to the fullest for assault, civil rights violations, and potentially hate crime charges." Gasps rippled through the store. Ethan clung to the counter's edge, sweat dotting his temples. He was beginning to realize this battle was far beyond a retail dispute. This was a legal war, and he was utterly outmatched. Ethan stood frozen, breathing heavily while the crowd waited for his answer. But Amara wasn't done pushing him into a corner. She spoke, her tone sharp as a scalpel. "You're going to do something you never imagined. Become the living example for our reform program. 200 hours of anti-bias training. Public speaking engagements on the real cost of discrimination, and you will work with our legal team to root out systemic prejudice in this company." Murmurs erupted. Some were shocked, others nodded in approval. This wasn't just punishment. It was a demand for change. Amara turned to Clara Whitmore, her voice level but carrying undeniable authority. "You, as regional manager, let 11 racial discrimination complaints go unaddressed. As of today, you're stepping down from this position to lead our new Diversity and Inclusion Department. Your job: eliminate all bias across all 700 stores." The crowd gasped again. Clara swallowed hard, knowing she'd escaped being fired, but her new role was a high-pressure suspended sentence. And she wasn't done. Amara looked at Marcus Hill, the only security staff who had spoken up for the truth from the start. "You're being promoted to head the training of our entire security team on bias recognition and de-escalation skills." Applause broke out. In the grand space of Maison Duval, for the first time that day, there was a glow in the eyes of those standing for justice. Amara concluded, "Starting this week, we're establishing a $20 million customer respect fund to compensate those who've experienced discrimination. This isn't just an apology. This is a commitment to change." Just hours after Amara announced the sweeping reforms, news of the Maison Duval incident flooded social media. The hashtags #DuvalChange and #respect. All customers climbed into the national top 3 trends. Major outlets like CNN, NBC, and the New York Times ran the clip of Amara confronting Ethan under headlines such as "CEO personally handles racial discrimination incident at flagship store." Within 6 hours, the video drew over 10 million views and hundreds of thousands of supportive comments. Duval Luxury Group stock, which had plunged in the wake of the scandal, rebounded by 6% that very afternoon. Financial analysts called it the trust effect. When customers and investors see leadership face a crisis with transparency and decisive action. At the store, the atmosphere shifted noticeably. Customers lingered as if wanting to witness the historic turning point firsthand. An elderly woman approached Amara, shaking her hand. "Thank you for showing us that even the most powerful can use their strength to protect ordinary people." Ethan was escorted out by the legal team, his face pale. Clara began receiving her new assignment from Amara on the spot under the eyes of hundreds of witnesses. Marcus Hill, wearing his new employee badge, was congratulated by customers and co-workers alike. That night, as the lights of Maison Duval dimmed, everyone knew this store would never be the same again. 6 months after Maison Duval became a public focal point, the changes Amara Johnson had set in motion painted an entirely new picture. Store number 12, once synonymous with scandal, had become a destination for retailers, entrepreneurs, and business students eager to see the reform model in action. Large signs at the entrance declared, "Every customer deserves respect." No exceptions. The Duval Respect app, a direct customer feedback system to the executive board, reached over 2.5 million downloads with a 4.9-star average rating. Discrimination-related complaints across the chain dropped 82% year over year. Ethan Cross, after 200 hours of training and dozens of speeches on the real cost of discrimination, now stood on stages at universities and business conferences. "I used to think power was about imposing," he told a packed hall at Harvard Business School. "Now I know real power is about lifting others up." Clara Whitmore exceeded expectations, leading the Diversity and Inclusion Department with new policies that reshaped workplace culture across more than 700 stores. Marcus Hill ran a team of 200 highly trained security staff, becoming a model for blending safety with humanity. Duval Luxury Group not only restored its image, but hit record revenues. But to Amara, numbers weren't the biggest win. She said in a TED Talk with over 12 million views, "The true victory is when racial discrimination stories stop happening, not out of fear of punishment, but because people understand respect is a non-negotiable value." That night, as the TED Talk auditorium went dark, Amara stood still for a few seconds before stepping off the stage. Her gaze swept across faces of all colors, ages, and professions. In that moment, she knew this story was no longer hers alone. It had become the catalyst for a movement. Speaking directly into the camera during the final interview of the Voices of Change series, Amara said, "No one chooses their skin color, their background, or the circumstances they're born into. But we all choose how we treat others, choose kindness, choose respect." She emphasized that change doesn't just come from CEOs, lawmakers, or celebrities. It starts with daily decisions. Speaking up when witnessing injustice or refusing to stay silent in the face of a hurtful remark. Ethan, Marcus, and Clara, once on 3 opposing sides, now appeared together in the #StandWithRespect campaign, encouraging people to share personal stories of fighting discrimination. The video closed on an image of a door swinging open, light flooding in. Words appeared on screen. "Change starts with you. What will you do when the moment comes?" If you believe respect is a basic right for everyone, share this story and comment on the moment when you have or will stand up for what's right. Every small action today could be a turning point for someone tomorrow. If you want, I can also prepare a polished narrative version of this translation, so it reads like a ready-to-use professional YouTube drama script for American audiences while keeping every detail intact. Would you like me to do that?